This here's my game collection. Let's talk about it. Yes, video game collecting. One of the more acceptable forms of hoarding in today's society. Now, I don't have all of these games because I have some kind of plastic fetish or something. No, this is history for me. Yeah, I guess you got the history of the games and the consoles and all that stuff, but no, that's not what I'm talking about. My history is splayed all over this shelf. I have literally been a gamer as long as I can remember. Some of my earliest memories, not just in gaming, but in life, were on this PlayStation right here. This was my dad's old PS1. And yeah, I only have fleeting memories of it. I was born in 97. The PS2 came out not long after that. But this memory of this console is still very formative in the gamer I would become. That being said, I don't have that many PS1 games. I have a few that survived my childhood and a few that I had fleeting memories of and just wanted to relive. And that brings us to the PS2. Now, this was me and my brother's first home console that was ours, and this was amazing. I have so many great memories on this console, from playing the Lego games and Star Wars Battlefront with my brother, or playing SOCOM with our dad through LAN Party. This system was amazing. And this is where some of the other pieces of my collection that harken back to my childhood exist. Like, as you can see, some of these cases don't have the standard PlayStation one. And for some of these, a lot of you will recognize this case right here. This was the old GameStop used case that they got when people brought discs in without cases. And obviously, you're like, oh, how could you lose the case? Well, we'll get into that in a minute. But we also had this one, which was from Hollywood Video, which was a rental store that we went to all the time because my parents liked getting movies, before Netflix was a thing. And they let me and my brother get a game every time they did. And eventually they started selling them. So I had to pick up a piece of that, and I'm so glad I have this remnant of that rental chain in my collection. Like, those two games, even though they're technically not complete, are perfectly fine staying the way they are in my collection. I am so happy with that. It was also around this time that we ended up with an Xbox. Now the cool thing about this was mine. I got this as a birthday present when I was, I think, 6 or 7. I still had to share it with my brother because I wasn't raised to be an asshole. But that was fine because we got to share some amazing experiences like Halo, Battlefront, Tony Hawk. So many fun memories on this. And you can also see there are some duplicates here between the systems because I guess grandparents didn't know how to communicate for Christmas. But this amazing piece of my childhood right here. This is also another area of my collection where I have some fun stuff, like these controllers. I have this GameStop branded Xbox controller. I don't know if it was official, and I'm assuming by the little X on the top that it doesn't work, but this is still a cool piece. I also have the Duke, the original monster of a controller that came out. Now, I didn't have one of these growing up. I found this at a thrift store a couple of years ago for like $2. I don't know if either of these work, but they're still freaking cool, especially for $2. Like, that obvious, yeah, you're buying that. And I made mention about games not having cases at stores because, well, we were familiar with that. Yeah, I really hate to say it, but during this generation, me and my brother didn't know we had to take care of these things, so we'd take a lot of our games out of the cases and stack them up on the entertainment system next to the system. And now we have an abundance of games that don't have cases, and I'll be honest, I don't know if they work. On the flip side of that, this generation also had demo discs. These come from an era before downloadable content where you'd find these usually in gaming magazines, and as typical, me and my brother would convince our dad to get one when we were at Books A Million, even though he knew we'd never read the magazine, but we'd get at least a dozen games that we could play and keep ourselves entertained, and these things were amazing. I wish we could get back to an era with that. These are so nostalgic for me. And after the PS2 and Xbox, the next step that our gaming evolution took was we got a 360. Now, I don't see any of the games. Oh, that's right. Our 360 red ringed. And that's just the unfortunate thing about this generation of gaming. 360s and PS3s were pretty notorious for giving out. Now, this is our original one. I don't know if it still works. We lost the power supply. It's got this cool wood grain finish on the front of it. Someday I'd like to get a power supply for it and hook it up, see if it works. Because I would like to play some of those games. We had some fun with like Halo Reach and 3. That's about all I remember. But I know there are some fun games on that generation I would like to check out and just simply can't right now. And that being said, all of the 360 games that we had either got sold or traded. Like, what are you going to do with games that you can't play? Of course, we're going to put them towards other stuff. And other stuff we did. When the 360 gave out, we were treated with a PS3 as compensation, and I'd say it was a worthy trade. This system was amazing, and it was so formative for us, being that we had it through most of middle school and high school, with amazing gems from Assassin's Creed, Battlefield, Bioshock, Call of Duty, Crysis, and it's not even getting out of the seas. Like, there are so many great, amazing games that came out on the system. And I think it's evident by the fact that the PS3 is the largest part of my collection. Like, I think I have almost 50 games for this. Most all of these are ones that we had growing up that we just held on to. And there are so many amazing games on this. Like, Infamous was amazing. You had the Lego games, obviously. Metal Gear. You got Saints Row. The Sly Cooper games. Uncharted. Oh my god. But this was also kind of a turning point for us, because before this, it was sell to get. And we were trying not to, obvious by how much we were able to hold on to. But you can see it like this. We had to buy the Sly Cooper collection because we sold all the Sly games that we had on the PS2. And me and my brother freaking loved these games. And I still do. These are phenomenal games. It's also evident with the fact that we only have Uncharted 2. Like, we definitely had 1 and 3 and must have sold them at some point. Which sucks, because that is like one of my favorite franchises of all time in gaming. And we also ended up with a Wii at this point. Now, as you can see again by how small this is, we have ended up selling off a lot of these games. Like, I know we had at least 3 Mario games on here that are just gone. And that really sucks. We also don't have our copy of Wii Sports, which is heartbreaking because that was an amazing game, and it has gotten ridiculously expensive for being a pack-in game for over 100 million Wii units. I don't understand it. But on the bright side, the Wii we got came bundled with a hunting game, so we got this cool gun remote that's still fun to play with to this day. And, oh yeah, I guess I had handhelds too. Yeah, we had some of these bad boys as long as I can remember too. This was my childhood Game Boy with the sick Darth Vader skins. This has gotten some good time in. I love this device right here. And around middle school time, we got the DS. We had the DS Lite. This guy, the hinge is kind of busted. I don't think the speakers work on this thing. Honestly, this guy got abused more than it should have, and that's a shame, but some amazing freaking games that came out on this thing. And then when I was in high school and had a job, I got myself a 3DS, because that's what you do with money, right? The whole reason I even got the 3DS was because Pokemon Omega Ruby launched. Now, this was an amazing game that I was so excited for. Ruby was such a big part of my childhood, and I actually made my family stop in the middle of a road trip so I could go to a GameStop and get this with a used 3DS, and such an amazing time. That was so much fun. And here's my copy of Pokemon Ruby that I was talking about. This was a key piece of my childhood. I absolutely adored this game. And I actually wouldn't have come across it without trading. I had a friend that wanted a Zelda game that I had. I think it was Minish Cap. I don't know. It was too long ago to honestly remember. But this was probably one of the best trades I made in my life, because this really cemented my love for Pokemon. Come to think of it, Pokemon Diamond was the reason I convinced my dad to get me and my brother DSs when we were younger. And I didn't even consider getting a Switch until I saw the Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee games. It really seems like the Pokemon games have been real system sellers for me personally when it comes to the Nintendo side. So that being said, will I ever get a Switch 2? Eventually I ended up with the new 2DS XL because I didn't use 3D, and this was on sale for I think $120. And this is probably one of my favorite handhelds of all time. This is amazing. I had so much fun with this. Well, I guess it's time to put Ruby back away into the bin of Game Boy cartridges. I really hate that this is how I have to store all of my Game Boy games, in this loose bin where they're just getting battered around. I would love to have boxes for all of these and have them up on the shelf displayed. But when a box for Fire Red is regularly going for above $50 on eBay, that's just simply not going to happen anytime soon. Oh yeah, I guess I had a PSP too. Technically, we didn't have a PSP. This was my dad's growing up, but it's here. We've started getting some games for it and checking out its library. It's good. That's about all I have to say on it. Putting the handhelds aside for a minute, we move on from our PS3 to PC. Yeah, in 2014, when I was a senior, I kind of let my friends get the best of me, and I became a PC snob. While my brother got a PS4 for Christmas, I got money to build my own computer, and I'm not going to say it wasn't fun. I amassed a great collection of games on Steam and had a lot of fun doing this, especially since all of my friends were on PC, so this was where I was going to have all of the co-op fun. And yeah, I still boot it up from time to time because there are simply games that you can't play on console on here that me and my friends want to jump into. But it is kind of sad at the same time because looking back now, I would have much preferred to have been on the PS4 because there are so many great games that I missed out on that I'm still catching up on to this day. That's not to say I just let my collection die at that point. No, quite the opposite actually. As I moved into the modern era of PC gaming, I found retro. My interest in retro actually started with this guy right here. The Sega Genesis with the CD attachment. Now the cool thing about this is, this was free. Yeah, it was pretty cool actually. I was hanging out at a friend's house and he was like, hey, my neighbor found this in their garage. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but it looks like video games and I know you like that, so you want it? And I'm like, honestly, I don't know what it is, but I'm interested. And I got home and found out it's a very expensive console, and I'm happy. Now, the truly unfortunate thing about this is the Genesis works fine, but the Sega CD didn't read any games that I got for it, which sucks. I could probably get that looked at some point, but that's not a super high priority for me right now. But what that system did do was introduce me to the world of retro gaming. I ended up finding a shop that wasn't really that far from our place that me and my brother started frequenting a lot. And I found a couple Genesis games. Like I said, I had some CD games, but I couldn't play them, so I sold them. I also ended up with this NES game. Never owned an NES. I don't know why I got that. Whoops. Now, I also ended up getting a 64 and a GameCube around that time. And as you can see by the size of my collection, the games are fairly expensive for it, so I don't have many. The GameCube especially. I only have these two freaking games. Now, they're fun games, mind you. I'd like to have more, but they're just way too much money. But the ones I've checked out on the 64 are amazing games so far, so happy with both of those. Now, it would take nearly 6 years from me saying I didn't want a PS4 to end up with one. This is my PS4 Pro I got in the summer of 2020. Literally 2 weeks before they announced the PS5, but that's a different story. Now, damn it, I wish I had gotten this console when I was in high school. Like, there are so many games on it that I just wish I was there for, like God of War and Spider-Man and Uncharted 4, but getting to just burn through all of those in a winter was so much fun. And another thing this system did was introduce me to The Last of Us, which has easily become my favorite game of all time. Just last week, I got the platinum for Part 1 on the PS5. And I got the system when Part 2 had come out, so I got to play them almost back to back. We're not going to get into that. I like that game. I know a lot of people don't. And there's still a lot of games on this system that I'm going back and checking out right now. Like, I just recently picked up Red Dead, and I'm going to start playing that soon. There are a couple other games that I'm wanting to check out. Fortunately, my PS5 that I now have can play these games, so I don't have to keep a bunch of systems hooked up. But I still have a lot of work to do to catch up on this. Wait, no, I lied. I got the Switch in 2018. Ah, yes, the Nintendo Switch, the revolutionary home and handheld console that came out in 2017 or something like that. Like I said, I picked it up when Pokemon came out, and then I got kind of addicted to it. I'm not gonna lie. Like, there's a silly amount of games I have on here that are just silly and kind of just rotting here now that I'm not really playing it that much anymore. Now, that's not to say I didn't absolutely adore my time with the Switch, but I feel it's just kind of over. I don't know. The magic is kind of a little gone for me. I did most all the stuff I wanted to do, especially getting the watermelon Joy-Cons. I freaking love these things. So for now, she'll just kind of rest here in her dock until it's time to come back out again. Then we get into the modern generation of gaming. This is my PS5 that I picked up last year at a pawn shop. It had a little bit of wear and tear on it, but nothing I couldn't clean off, and it runs like a beast. And it came bundled with the blue controller, which I'll be honest, I'm not too crazy about, but it's a controller, and I freaking love the DualSense. Like, the DualShock nostalgically is one of my favorite controllers, but I didn't know how much better it could get with the DualSense. I love this thing. But the most important thing the PS5 did was finish the work that the PS4 started in reminding me of who I am. a console peasant. Yeah, it kind of sucks to say with how much money I've put into my computer over the years, but the last year since I've got this thing, it has barely been used. Like, I even got the Pulse Elite headset, so I can just use Discord straight off of the PlayStation, and it is amazing. I've had such the time of my life on this thing. And holy shit, what a library this system has had so far. Granted, I'm a few years behind on it. Like I said, I'm doing some catch up on this and the PS4, but the games I've played on this have been some of the best games I've played in recent memory. This was also the first PlayStation system where I really started going for platinum trophies for games that I absolutely love. And I didn't even know how much I loved them until I got it, and I played Astro's Playroom on the PS5 because it was pre-installed. I'm like, hell, I'm going to burn through this. And I played through the levels. I'm like, that wasn't enough. I need more. So I just did it all. And I got the platinum trophy. I'm like, shit, that was fun. So I proceeded to get it for the Spider-Man remaster, Spider-Man Morales, Astrobot. I just got The Last of Us, got Stanley Parable, Squirrel with a Gun. We're still on a hit of Helldivers 2 right now. This is such a fun multiplayer game. They just released the Halo collab a couple weeks ago, which is still crazy to think about that there's an Xbox themed DLC on a first party PlayStation title. We are living in crazy times. And also last week, Metal Gear Solid Delta came out. I didn't really mention it that much in the PS2 section, but MGS3 was a big part of my childhood. Like, my dad had it to play through it, and he wouldn't let me play the story, so he made me play the Ape Escape part until I was allowed to do the story. But this game is fun. Whoops. This game is phenomenal. I haven't beat it yet, and I would be playing it right now if I weren't waiting for the old man to die. Probably sounds so terrible out of context. So what I'm referring to there is the fight with the ends. There's this super old sniper dude where there's a feature in it where if you just don't touch your save for a week, he'll just die of old age. And I never did that as a child because I'm like, oh, I'm better than that. And that's part of the beauty of growing up and having wisdom is I'm not better than that, so I'm waiting for him to die. I have absolutely loved the last year that I've had with the PS5, and I cannot wait to see what else I have. Like I said, I still have a lot of catching up to do on both of these systems, and honestly, there's some stuff I could go back and get for the PS3. I just recently hooked that up, but nonetheless, this is where we leave off in my history, is the now and the future. And so now I just kind of want to take you through and show you some of the fun little bits that I have that maybe warrant a little bit more time to talk about in my collection. And let's start right here. You've probably seen this passing by, but this is my little Astro display. I ordered this little guy from... little guy from a company called... Dude, really? They put this figure out right after Astrobot won the award for Game of the Year in 2024. And I had just actually finished playing through this game when they announced it. So I put in my pre-order and got it a few months later, and it's been sitting here next to my Astrobot DualSense, which Ryan actually got me for Christmas. He's like a good bud. I love him. And they just kind of hang out here with my Spider-Mans. I got I think it's from the second, it's from the second game, because he's got the arms, the pop vinyl, and the little plushie I found at 7-Eleven actually. And then these trophies are pretty cool. I got these from Etsy, I think. They're 3D printed, and I got the platinum, and there's a couple other trophies scattered around in other places. But I just got them to help decorate up the thing. And then this guy was awesome. I actually have the controller right over here. This was the 30th anniversary. I think it says it on the back. Yeah, the 30th anniversary controller that came out last year. And I missed the first wave of pre-orders on it because it happened at like 2 in the morning my time. And then they announced another one that was happening at noon my time. So I was rushing everyone at work that were like, hey, we need to get this job done so we can get on lunch. And once we did, I got in queue and I scored mine. And it came a few months later, and it has been an awesome part of my collection. I freaking love to have it here. I also have this cool game room marquee that I don't use a lot because it doesn't do a whole lot of lighting. But it's still cool. I found it for like $20 at a Hobby Lobby. The same Hobby Lobby I found this sign at. Now, obviously, with the Dual Shock, this is an older sign, but it's still pretty freaking cool. And obviously, Dual Shock is more recognizable than Dual Sense. But that's a cool little sign that I have. And I have a couple more signs over here that I haven't found somewhere to put up. I have this guy. Oh, this is a good memory. Any of you remember on the DS when you could go to GameStop and get a mystery gift Pokemon? That's what this was, the Pikachu colored Pichu. And I kind of framed this flyer up. I don't know why I kept it, but I found it a few years ago. And I had actually lost this Pichu on a corrupt save on my Heart Gold, which was heartbreaking. So I framed this just as a remembrance of such a cool time in gaming history. And then I got this guy. I think my grandma had one of her friends make this. It's pretty cool. Like I said, I just haven't found a spot to hang it up. Even though I did find a spot to get the Squirrel with a Gun poster up. Play that game. It is amazing. Oh, this one is so cool. So this is my boxed Game Boy Color in Atomic Purple. Now I found this at that retro store I mentioned that me and my brother went to. Complete in box. It was $40. $40. I bought that in a heartbeat. The Game Boy works. It's still great. Screen kind of sucks because it's old, but this bad boy is worth a lot more than $40 these days. Not that I'm gonna sell any of this stuff anytime soon, but that's still just a really cool piece to have. And here in the closet, I got some overstock of like boxes that I don't need. Like I had the Witcher Special Edition, the Switch box, PS4. I think that's my Pulse Elite box. This was pretty cool, although I haven't really had a chance to use it. It's a multi-tap for PS1, which allows you to plug 4 controllers into a system that only had 2. Found it for like $4 at a retro store. I'm like, that's cool. Because it is cool. Oh, and Starlink is up there. Found that on clearance at a Best Buy. Cool game, but I never found it fun to be holding the toy while I was playing it. Speaking of being on clearance on Best Buy, I found these guys. These are little Mario coins that they made in conjunction with the 3D All-Star game that came out, which, why would you release a game like this for like, what was it, 6 months? So much fun, but like, why? You're just adding unnecessary scarcity, Nintendo. I don't understand. But these gold coins are cool. I got this cool little Giratina figure that I got for pre-ordering diamonds, which I'm not really sure why they gave me this one, because this would have made more sense with platinum, but it's cool. And I also have the original cardboard box that Heart Gold came in. Granted, I don't have the Pokewalker anymore, which breaks my heart. That thing was amazing, but this is still a cool part to have, a piece of cardboard that survived. And then I got my Pokemon Pops. I got Eevee, which is my favorite Pokemon, and Bulbasaur, which is my favorite first-gen starter. And yeah, I'd say that's about it. My history as a gamer, and my collection of nearly 300 games at this point, which I had never really quantified until we moved into this space, and I got these shelves to set this up, because like before, I had them on a few varying shelves here and there, somewhere in drawers and boxes, but to finally see them all splayed out like this together, it's kind of crazy, and I can't wait to see where it goes. Well, if you made it this far into the video, you clearly enjoyed it enough, so be sure to leave a like down below, subscribe if you're not already, and if there's anything in here you'd want me to go more into depth on, any certain game or system, just leave a comment down below and let me know, and I will catch you in the future.